Michael Ashton is managing principal at Enduring Investments. So, Mike, walk us through the details here, because the bond's strength this morning, I think, is definitely worth watching to see if it continues.
Yeah, so it was an interesting number this morning for a couple of reasons, although I think that the investment implications of the number are less important than the investment implications the Fed thinks about them. We had, on the upside, we had medical care inflation accelerating. It had been sort of soft recently, pharmaceutical prices, but we're starting to see that kind of re-accelerate. On the other hand, we have cars, apparel prices, core goods in general were pretty soggy. So, we've got core services going up, we've got accelerating a little more, we have core goods decelerating, and I guess a lot of that's just sort of volatility and noise and so on. The thing that was a little interesting was that there was a little bit of softness in rents, primary rents, and in owner's equivalent rent, and I think that's the sort of thing where if that rolls over, then you start to talk about a more serious deceleration in core inflation. But core is still up around 2.3, 2.4, so it's not low.
So it's not low, but we also, you take out the energy part, things get a little bit, less exuberant on the inflationary side. Is that really just kind of what it comes down to, taking out some of the move in energy?
Well, yeah, you always have to be careful about taking out, all the things that go up or taking out all the things that go down. I think we take out energy because it's really volatile, and part of the problem we have with this month's figures is that there are starting to be a lot of things that are very volatile. So apparel, because they've changed the methodology of surveying, has started to become more volatile than it historically had been, and so we're getting a lot of chopping around of used cars, pharmaceuticals now, and so there's a lot of noise. Interestingly, outside of housing, core inflation actually accelerated a little bit. So overall, the number looked a little soft, but there's so much noise in this one. It's a little hard to tell if we're seeing anything important.
I think this is a good point. So if we try and take the noise out, Mike, I know you've got a chart looking at the rolling inflation. Tell me what you're looking at here. I think it's pretty interesting. Walk us through this. There's two parts to this. One is a 3-year rolling inflation over under 2.5%. The other side is a correlation. Tell me what you're looking at.
Yeah, this is really, I think, an important implication for investors going forward. So what you have there is in pink, you've got the difference between core inflation and 2.5%. So when it's at zero, that means core inflation is at 2.5% on a rolling 3-year basis. And the blue line shows the correlation, 3-year rolling correlation of stocks and bonds. And the implication here is that when inflation is low, then bonds hedge stocks pretty well. They're inversely correlated, and that's the reason that we have stocks and bonds in a portfolio. Is it lowers the overall risk of the portfolio, right? The problem is that when inflation starts to rise and it gets above about 2.5%, then you have stocks and bonds start to get correlated because they both respond poorly to inflation. So when we don't care about inflation, they tend to be inversely correlated because growth affects stocks positively and bonds negatively. But when we stop caring about growth as much as inflation, then that factor, inflation, tends to move both of those things together. And so that's the point at which you want to have inflation-related assets in your portfolio.
Interesting. So where does that put us right now, Mike? Do we know what's being prioritized?
Well, right now we're getting pretty close to the border. Now, obviously, that's a rolling 3-year. The reason that it's 3 years, investors don't really care if you get a little bit of a spike above, 2.5%. They care if you start to see if it starts to enter into your overall calculations as the value of these assets. So I don't think we have to worry about it yet, but it's something to still be attentive to as inflation moves higher and if it moves higher.
I think this is one of the most important points, Michael, because what we've had, of course, has been a very nice, a fantastic period here of bonds and stocks moving up together. Now, as we look at a possible bottom in the 10-year yield in September, I think this chart becomes important because our question has been, well, Jay Powell says I'm not going to hike without inflation, but it looks like the bond market's going to move plenty without inflation. The question is, what level will we get to in that 10-year yield, and what point it starts to, resonate with equity investors as a negative thing? You're looking at this idea, but just more from a pure inflationary standpoint.
That's right. Again, if inflation if inflation rises, obviously bond yields will kind of keep going up. But at some point, what we're not, and that's normal, right? The part that we have to watch is at what point do equity investors start to worry a little bit that things are getting out of hand? And I think one of the interesting things, we have Powell talking today, I don't want to jump the gun if you wanted to ask about Powell, but is that, the recent pronouncement that the Fed would need to see a really significant move up that's persistent is that, equity investors now have to take into account, investors generally have to take into account the question of whether or not the Fed is, doesn't have their back anymore. And, you used to always sort of be able to count on the Fed trying to keep inflation low and stable. And in fact, they're now kind of loudly saying, no, we actually like inflation expectations to go up, so we're going to let it go. And for equity investors, that should be a bad thing.
This is really interesting, and I'm glad you bring Powell into this, because the subject of our Market Minute this morning that I wrote was basically the idea, Michael, that you have this scenario happening where bond yields are moving pretty quickly. Now, again, we were at such a suppressed level, so many are able to look past it right now, but the speed of the move is definitely worth noting since September. In your mind, at what point will we look at the 10-year yield? Let's say hypothetically we don't get any big inflation beats, but 2 weeks from now we're looking at 2.2% in the 10-year yield. Will we start to ask questions about the relationship between inflation and bonds? Because this is now the scenario, right? I think a lot of people heard Jay Powell and they go, oh, he's not going to hike. Bonds are only going to rally. Well, that's not really the case. Turns out we don't really need inflation for bonds to sell off at this point, given how strong the positioning was.
Yeah, that's right. It's funny. It wasn't that many months ago we were worried about 3%, right? So, there's not a lot that's changed fundamentally since we were worried about bonds going up through 3%. So, there's a lot of room for things to move around here without the Fed necessarily doing anything, especially at the long end of the curve. We had an inverted curve. We were worried about that, and now the question is how much will it steepen on inflation expectations? Break evens and market measures of inflation expectations are still pretty low going out a ways out the curve. But that's really what you're seeing when you see those long yields go up, is you're seeing people starting to factor in that maybe the Fed isn't going to hold it. We're not going to have inflation at 1.5. Maybe it's going to be 2.5, maybe 3. And so I think that, again, think about the levels. We were worried back around 3%. I think you've got to get well over that 2.2. You can get to 2.5% before I'm going to start getting terribly concerned about where bonds are headed.
Yeah. All right. Really interesting stuff, Michael. Thanks for helping us trying to figure it out this morning. Lots going on here. A CPI that maybe looks innocuous on the surface today. We got bonds and gold, some strength. Michael Ashton, managing principal at Enduring Investments. Nice work, Mike.